Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here. Day two after the schedule was released, and kind of taking a deeper dive into what it looks like for the 49ers and looking at all the games kind of week by week and really paying attention to the rest differential. So this is something that the 49ers have gotten really kind of screwed on over the last several seasons. Two Thursday night games last year, a lot of games, four games where they played teams after their bye, two other games where they played teams after a mini bye after they played Thursday night before, traveling on, to play the Buffalo Bills after they had a week off, hosting the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys back-to-back weeks, both of those teams coming off the bye. So, looking at this year, much more forgiving schedule for the 49ers. And let's take a look at every opponent that they have and what they're doing the week before. So, Seattle, obviously, week one, it is the season opener. So, it's at Seattle. I would say, obviously, the Seattle Seahawks don't have to travel. So, it is a little bit of advantage for the Seattle Seahawks because it's a home game. So, slight advantage, Seahawks. Obviously, we don't know who's going to be healthy at that point, who's not going to be. So, let's just say just rest differential, just no travel, Seattle Seahawks have a little bit of an advantage. It is playing Sam Darnold, who they know really well. Sam Darnold knows the defense really well too. So it'll be kind of a interesting cat and mouse game there. Week two at New Orleans. So now, obviously, the 49ers again on the road, two games in a row to open up the season. And this happens because remember when Levi Stadium opened up, 2014? That hot side of the stadium was completely empty. That is a bad look for the stadium. It's a bad look for the 49ers. It's a bad look for the NFL. So the NFL does the 49ers a solid by having early games away. Or, like last year, it was New York Jets, Monday night opener or evening Sunday night opener. So they'll have evening games at Levi Stadium in the month of September, maybe in the first 3 weeks. But generally, those first couple weeks of the season, the 49ers are away because it's so hot in Santa Clara and there's no roof. Let's not get started on that. All right, so week two, they go to New Orleans, and the week prior, New Orleans is home and they host the Arizona Cardinals. So it's two games at home for the New Orleans Saints, one versus Arizona Cardinals, and then the next one against the 49ers. So the Arizona Cardinals, you know, they're a pretty good team. They beat the 49ers last year. They've played really good games. New Orleans, we don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. So New Orleans, two games at home. Obviously, the rest differential is to New Orleans because they have two home games in a row. Niners have two away games in a row, and it is a an early start of a game, so rest differential there definitely goes to the Saints, but the Saints aren't a great team. All right. Then the 49ers have two games at home. Arizona Cardinals is week three, and it's a short flight for the Cardinals. They were at home in week two. They hosted the Carolina Panthers. So, really kind of even rest differential. Yes, the Cardinals are traveling for a week after a week of being at home, but it's not like two back-to-back games. For the Niners, it'll be a home game. Finally, a home game after two away games. So, rest differential really goes to the 49ers. Week four, 49ers host the Jacksonville Jags. Obviously, the Jags have to fly all the way across the country, and it's a long flight. They were at home. They will have been at home in week three. Um, and that was, it looks like, did I get it right here? Yep. So the week before that, they were at home and they had the Houston Texans there. They could be beat up. Houston Texans have a good defense. It is D'Amico Ryans. So it could be a tough game for the Jacksonville Jags to come all the way to the West Coast after maybe getting beat up by the Houston Texans. We'll see. All right. Week after that, week five, Thursday night, short week for the 49ers. They have to travel to Southern California. It's only an hour flight, though. The week before, sorry, did I have that wrong? I might have had this wrong. So let's see. Arizona had Carolina the week before. Jacksonville had Houston at home. Oh, here it is. Okay. Um, the Rams had Indy. So All right, so had to change a little lighting because it was getting a little dark in here. Also, uncheck my notes. So, Jacksonville hosted Houston, will have hosted Houston before they go to Levi Stadium. The Rams, short week, of course, with the Niners short week on Thursday Night Football, they will have hosted Indianapolis. So, a little bit of rest differential benefit for the Rams, who will stay home 2 weeks in a row hosting the San Francisco 49ers. But the advantage is that it's Levi South. So, well, there's a little bit of that. All right, so week 5, Thursday Night Football, Niners go to LA. They've got a little extra time before they go to Tampa Bay. Now, this is where the 49ers actually do get a pretty good advantage versus Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay is a team that is pretty good. They're pretty spunky. It's Baker Mayfield. They've got some good wide receivers there. I mean, they didn't have a fantastic year, but they did have a winning season. So when you look at how they played last year, I mean, I think the Buccaneers could give the 49ers a run for their money. So they were 10-7 last year. They've got a good running back. They picked Emeka Egbuka, their wide receiver out of Ohio State. So Chris Godwin is still there. Baker Mayfield could be really good this year. We'll see. They're kind of, Baker Mayfield versus Nick Bosa. It's always interesting. All right, so Tampa Bay Buccaneers will have been at Seattle. They have to fly. That's a Sunday game. They have to fly all the way home, and then they're hosting the 49ers. So a little advantage to the 49ers that will have a few extra days rest and planning. All right, week 7, Sunday night football, and it's Atlanta. So um, I think that's a good thing for the 49ers. It's a home game. They're hosting Atlanta. Atlanta's going to fly all the way over. And also, it's a little bit shorter week for Atlanta. Atlanta will have been on Monday Night Football at home versus Buffalo. Buffalo's a tough game. Buffalo's a good team, and Atlanta's got to host them at home, and they've got to fly all the way out to the West Coast. Sunday Night Football. So it's 2 night games, but they've got one less day. So the Niners have the advantage there. All right, week 8. 49ers have 2 back-to-back away games again. It's at Houston, and Houston had played Monday Night Football the week before at Seattle. So, looking at all these teams that the 49ers are playing, it's teams that are coming off road games. So obviously Houston's at home, so they're hosting, but they were in Seattle Monday Night Football. So again, little bit of a day less rest and travel home from Seattle all the way to Houston. Week 9, they're at New York Giants. Now, this is the little 2-week thing where the 49ers could end up going to the East Coast, but not sure. Houston's central, so they could go back to Santa Clara, do their whole practice thing, and then travel to the New York for the Giants game. Giants will have played at Philadelphia the week before. It's an away game, but it's not far. So rest differential, I think it goes in the Giants' favor, but the Giants aren't very good. So week 10 versus the Rams, and that's at home for the 49ers. The Rams will have been at home versus New Orleans. I think about even. Again, hour flight to Santa Clara. They played at home the week prior. Pretty much even rest differential. Week 11, 49ers travel to Arizona. Arizona will have been at Seattle. So this is kind of where a lot of the divisional games kind of get kind of into the meat. Again, not a long flight to Seattle. Arizona going to Levi Stadium, not too much difference in the rest differential. All right. Week 12, they host Carolina. So that week 11 was at Arizona. They were at Seattle before. 49ers travel there, but again, it's an hour flight. Week 12, Carolina comes to Levi Stadium. They will have been at Atlanta, short flight for them the week before. But again, 49ers are at home, little rest differential. Carolina has a longer flight. Week 13, 49ers go to Cleveland. That is probably the one game that could be cold. It's November. Cleveland the week before will have been at Las Vegas. So both of them will have been on, 49ers will be on a road trip in Cleveland. Cleveland will be at home, but they were on a road trip. That was pretty much a distance in Las Vegas, but same time slots. I don't think it's pretty much an even rest differential. Week 14, bye week. Week 15, This is the interesting one. So off the bye week, 49ers almost always travel. This time, off the bye week, the 49ers host the Tennessee Titans, and I, Tennessee has to fly all the way out to Santa Clara. It's definitely a rest differential benefit for the 49ers. And then week 16, they're at Indianapolis. Indianapolis, yeah, it could be cold, but it's a dome. Um, Travel to midway across the country, but Indianapolis was at Seattle the week prior. So, yes, the 49ers have to travel. It takes a little bit out of them, but Indianapolis traveled the week before. 17 and 18, 49ers are at home. They host the Chicago Bears and then they host the Seattle Seahawks to end this season. Um, Chicago was at home on a Friday, so they do have an extra day to prepare. They faced Green Bay. Green Bay beat up on the Chicago Bears last year, so it could be a battered Chicago team. At that point, we'll know whether all the work the Bears did during the offseason helped them out or not, all the attention they paid to the offensive line, the targets they got. Caleb Williams, we'll see at that point. So that and then Seattle at Levi Stadium as the last game. We don't know whether it's going to be on a Saturday or a Sunday. Seattle will have played Carolina the week before. A kind of even rest. So looking at the schedule, the 49ers have a huge benefit. They don't have two Thursday night games. They don't have all these, playing late night, short week to the next game. These last few games, there are some night games in here, which does give them a little extra time. Let's see here. The primetime game. So that game versus Carolina is a primetime game. So a little extra time going to Cleveland at Cleveland the next. I think maybe that's the one short week. So um, they host Carolina. It's a night game. It could get flexed though, to be honest. And then they travel to Cleveland the next week. Again, Cleveland, not a great team. And then taking a look at that December 22nd game, it's a night game at Indianapolis. Um, so they at least they play home the next week. So a night game, a little bit shorter. Again, that's a Monday night game in Indy, short week, coming back home to play the Chicago Bears. Um, Chicago is a night game also, though. So, it's a little bit less time than the Chicago would have had to prepare because they'll have a day game. But I mean, I know these are a lot of minute details, but what's interesting is that how different it is from 2024 when they had like negative 34 days rest differential. I have the article pulled up. It's sharp football. They do all of these crazy stats. And last year, I think the 49ers had the absolute worst. There's a 37-day swing and rest edge. So the one team that had the best had 16 days extra rest over their opponents. 49ers had negative 21. So this year, I think they're on the plus side. Sharp football analysis will do it again. But looking at it, just kind of taking a big picture look at it, it's definitely a schedule that benefits the 49ers. So I'm saying I think 10 or 11 wins for the 49ers. I've heard some people say 12. It just depends on everyone staying healthy and how it kind of works out these young guys. This is a young team. So it remains to be seen whether Michael Williams, CJ West, Alfred Collins, how they all play on the defensive line. How are they going to mesh? Are they going to be able to get up to speed quickly and be ready for week one? We'll see. So just kind of an interesting take on the schedule. And of course, we'll do a little bit more analysis on it later. But just wanted to say hi and happy Thursday. And I'll have more for you. I'm going to take a look more at a little closer look at a couple more rookies. And we'll do that for Friday. All right. Talk to you guys soon.